But I think when we got to like round 5, round 6, because the whole thing with Gvozdyk, I was like, listen, and we said this on the show leading up to the fight. If he boxes and he moves and he's able to be active enough,
Yeah.
then okay, he'll survive. I was heavy on the over. I was like, give me over 8.5 rounds. That was my favorite bet for this fight. It went up to 9.5. I was like, I don't care. Give me that too. Because I think this is going at least to the 10th. And we obviously got the full 12. And the reason why is because I felt like Gvozdyk would have been able to box and move, and David Benavidez, make him struggle to cut off the ring a little bit. He was having some success early, to your point. And David Benavidez, I felt like round 5, round 6, he really started landing. And it's like, oh shit, like he actually might get this finish early. And then Gvozdyk was able to get a second win. He was moving around a little bit more. And there were a couple times where he was content with staying in the pocket, to which I was like, no, don't do that. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And then he eventually was boxing well with success. Like I felt like the bulk of the rounds he did win came in the second half of the fight, maybe all of them, as a matter of fact. I think I gave him the first, and then I gave him like 3 more toward the end, or 4 more toward the end, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But to me, like David Benavidez is probably a B minus performance for his debut at light heavyweight, and coming away from it, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't take him to beat Dimitri Bivol. You know what I mean? Like,
But you know what? To play devil's advocate, coming into the fights this weekend, even though Leon Paro, we're gonna get to that, upsetting Subriel Matias, the one fight that I thought that would be an upset could possibly be this one, and that's because Gvozdyk is a former champion, and on top of that, it was David Benavidez' first fight at 175. So just thinking about it in that aspect, like just to give him a little bit of grace, he moved up to 175, fought a former champion, and this is new territory for him. And we're sitting over here being like, oh, he doesn't have power. He just beat someone by unanimous decision. And, the thing that David Benavidez does really well is like his work weight is really high. He's got that power punching. He likes to come forward. He has that Mexican style of boxing. And I absolutely love it. I'm just worried about his conditioning. All I know is that I think, and Beterbiev is old now, but he's still scary. Like that punch you can hear from anywhere around the world. I think Beterbiev beats him, and I think Bivol beats him. And so this was the title eliminator. So he's gonna face either Bivol or Beterbiev, and I think both those guys beat David Benavidez. To be perfectly honest with you, Bryan.
I think, well, Beterbiev, I want to know how he recovers from the injury. Like that's sort of a big thing there, because he's either at 40 or pushing 40,
I
and
think he's like 40 already. Yeah.
injured again. They got to fight. Like ultimately, Benavidez is in all likelihood he's not gonna fight both of them. I'm gonna ignore that, Ryan. Um, but he's not gonna fight both of them. Because obviously he's gonna get the winner. He actually has a choice now, though. Like this is the interesting thing about this. Like we're just making the assumption he's gonna stay. We don't actually know what he's going to end up doing. One, if he does decide to fight, because he's the interim champion for the WBC at both 168 and 175. If he's gonna fight the Bivol and Beterbiev winner, those two have to fight each other in October. So you're talking about April, May, like March, you're talking about basically spring, and we're not even technically in the summer of this year yet, right? So Benavidez needs another fight before then. If he's gonna fight the champion, WBC champion at 168, I mean, we all know who's the champion. Like we want to see David Benavidez
Are you
fight.
wait a minute, Brian. Are you saying that there's a chance that we may get Canelo and David Benavidez? To be honest with you, I just don't think that fight happens. You know why?
Listen. Canelo Alvarez, you like he cannot. He can, but like he cannot vacate the WBC title and not fight David Benavidez.
But here's the thing,
Like,
and here's the thing, and you kind of, this was like foreshadowing before his last fight, right? Because you saw like those like documentaries coming out that DAZN did and everything before he fought Jaime Munguia, and there was, you could tell that he's on his way out, right? He talked about what life would be without boxing, and listen, he has shirts that says "No boxing, no life." Okay. Like he's on his way out, and I don't think he's gonna fight David Benavidez, and that's why he wants $200 million for the fight. Like it's
34.
ridiculous.
He turns 34 next month.
But he's had over
You
like
know?
60 fights,
Yeah,
right?
no, no,
He's
no.
on
I'm saying like
and
he don't want to do this till he's 40, I don't think.
no, and I think Andre Ward retired too early, and I'm being biased because he's my favorite, like one of my favorite boxers of all time. However, I think Canelo, I would like to see him leave on top, like still being, on the pound for pound list. I don't want to see him get old and still fighting. Right. And so, and that's not to say that he shouldn't fight David Benavidez. I want that fight. I just know boxing and I know we're not going to get it. And the older Canelo gets, the worse it gets for him. Right. The worse it gets for him.
Having watched this fight, I think some people will probably be like, I don't know. Like Canelo
Beats him.
you know,
After what I saw in this fight, Canelo beats him, especially in Vegas.
I still think that, specifically at 168, I still think that David Benavidez. I mean, shit. If they do this the Canelo's not doing this at 175. First of all, like we could throw that out.
The
Canelo's not
only
fighting David
person he
Benavidez
wants at
175.
175 is Bivol,
Which
and that's gonna go
no,
the exact same way.
no, thank you.
But
No,
I
thank
think
you.
David Benavidez is such a G that he'd be like, "Yo, I'll move back down," because he didn't love his performance. He gave it a 7 out of 10. That's a C.
Yeah, and I said B minus C plus, a C.
Or that's a C plus, whatever.
No. C plus is like 78, 79. Like, trust me,
In America,
I got a couple C pluses.
no,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
in America, in Canada, a C plus is like 68 till like 73. I got a couple of C pluses in my life and C's and C minuses. I graduated with C minuses, but anyways,
I had a
that's
couple
not the
D.
point.
I had a D or two. On my college, whatever. D's get degrees.
Are you gonna
It's fine.
are you gonna say pause? It's very un-New York of you.
Moving on.
I'm gonna cut that.
I think David Benavidez, it was fine performance, but like for me, I probably would rather he fight Canelo Alvarez than he experiment at the light heavyweight division with the winner of better BF Bivol, especially if it means we have to wait 8 months or whatever, 10 months actually, or whatever it is.
Sorry, I had my mic off, but I want to get to this. Nello is a counterpuncher. He has a chance because David was coming in reckless. But I think that's kind of his fight style. That's kind of David Benavidez's fight style. Like he's going to come forward. He's going to take hits. He's not afraid of it. But he's going to try to like just throw as many punches as he can. And they're going to be hard hitting. The thing about Canelo is I thought Canelo had one of his best performances in his last fight. Like, was that not one of the best Canelos we've seen in a long time?
I was a little surprised at how dominant he was. And I say that as somebody who's like, I don't think Jaime Munguia is like the best in the world or whatever.
Up and coming though.
But in boxing, we don't often get the quote unquote old dog schooling somebody who's several years younger, who's at his physical peak and coming off a good win against John Ryder, who, Jaime Munguia, to his credit, stopped John Ryder. Canelo Alvarez did not, in a reminder, tiny ring in Mexico, or would look to be a tiny ring at least.
Coming off wrist surgery, though, might I add. Jesus is gonna hate me.
Yeah,
because I'm like making all these excuses
every
for
time.
Canelo,
Every time we talk
mean?
about Canelo, you point that out because I always tend to forget.
Yeah, it's coming off wrist surgery.
Yeah, and that's not nothing. But at the same time, like that, Jaime Munguia still did that. But yeah, I think Tony Yayo makes an interesting point here because it got me thinking. Like one thing Canelo Alvarez would do in a David Benavidez matchup is probably target his body a lot on these counters. Like as David Benavidez is going to try to walk him down. He's going to eat left hooks to the body. He's going to eat some left uppercuts. He's going to eat some right hooks to the body. Like I think Canelo Alvarez is going to have a game plan that it's going to make me, because I've been saying Benavidez probably wins that fight. But I'm going to think about it a lot more. That's if we even get it in September. Canelo Alvarez still doesn't have an opponent. We don't know. The IBF
David Benavidez doesn't even have an opponent.
Oh, yeah.
My God, this might be a chance.
The IBF is out here trying to be like, yo, fight William Skull. And Canelo Alvarez is probably like, no. Who is this?
Bro.
Like,
and here's the thing, like, and I wouldn't even be mad if Canelo fought your boy Edgar Berlanga. I wouldn't be mad about it. It could, because he's gonna pick who he wants to fight at this point. He's on his way out, right? So I wouldn't be mad if he fought Berlanga. That's a dub for him.
But
Canelo.
I want it to be David Benavidez. But honestly, like,
You and like a million people,
right,
over a billion
to be
people.
fair, is Edgar Berlanga the next best option? Now, in terms of resume and boxing ability, no. But in terms of like
Star
and
power?
it's
Star power, yes. I
it,
think
it,
I think Berlanga
it,
has more star power than David Benavidez, to be real with you.
I don't.
Yes, he does.
I'm not going that
Yo,
far.
yes, yeah, no, he does, in the sense that like he's a New Yorker, right?
Listen,
Just
look who
listen.
you're talking to, but
He
like,
like he brings out Fat Joe to like he brings out all the rappers. Like what rappers is David Benavidez bringing out? I
Damian
haven't.
Lillard.
Okay, but yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But Berlanga, like I think he's a superstar. Like just his aura and the way he is. I'm not saying like maybe in the ring. David Benavidez to me is a way better fighter than Edgar Berlanga. Let me just be clear. But
Yeah,
I just think star power wise, people are excited about Edgar Berlanga. When he was knocking out dudes left, right, and center, like everyone's like, "Oh, he's that guy. He's that guy." And I thought he had a really good last performance.
he's also
So,
polarizing. I think David Benavidez he's more like he's more well liked. Edgar Berlanga, a lot of people don't fucking like him.
but
Caleb
that's
Plant is not one of those people, and I
I
think
want to see that fight. I want to see that
I
fight.
think that's what makes Edgar Berlanga interesting. Like, who wants to be liked by everybody? First of all,
Well,
but
Like Joe Budden says, I got a couple of haters, still got to acquire more. I think it's
you
one of
love
those
that line.
things. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like you want people to hate you. Like look at LeBron, like half the people hate him, but we'll watch to see him play.
He didn't want that in the beginning, and then after a while, he kind of leaned into it or whatever. But